Hola, Natalie. What's up, Michael? Hola, yes, sir. Cruz. Hey, what's up, Michaela? All right, I'm good. Did you guys do your homework? What's up, Yalen? I remember yesterday I gave you homework. I told you, tell me what Apollo 13 is. All right. So if you did your homework, I want you to type in what was Apollo 13 and what happened. All right. I want you to type in what's Apollo 13 and what happened. All right. Apollo 13 was the seventh crew mission in the Apollo space program, and the third meant to land on the moon and launched April 17, 1970. Okay, that's a good start, Natalie. But what happened to it? Y'all be Googling stuff. Apollo 13 was the seventh crew. Y'all copying off each other. What's up, Miguelito? All right, I'm asking them their homework from yesterday. What is Apollo 13? What happened? I know you read it and you Google it and copy and paste, but tell me what happened. I want to see if you can verbalize what happened. Anybody know what happened? I'm gonna give y'all a few more seconds, and I'm gonna tell you what happened. Okay. Michael, think about it. The air tank ran out of air and they had to evacuate. But if you're in the space, you're going towards space. So what happened? What do you think happened to them? If the air tank ran out of air and they had to evacuate, what you think? What do you think happened to them? They're in the spaceship. They're going towards outer space. They thousands of miles in the air. What do you think happened? Yep, that's exactly what happened, Michael. They died. All right. So Apollo 13. right? Apollo 13 was a mission. It was supposed to be the third mission that the astronauts took to the moon, right? Um, there's two space centers in America. There's Johnson Space Center and there's Kennedy Space Center, right? Johnson Space Center is in Houston, I believe, and the other one is in Florida, like Orlando, somewhere like that. So um, that's where they got the phrase "Houston, we have a problem." Right? You ever heard people say, "Houston, we have a problem"? Right? Well, they got that from Apollo 13 because the Space Center is in Houston, and the astronauts were calling back to Houston to the space station saying, "Houston, we have a problem," when the air tanks was going out and stuff like that. So that's where people got that phrase, "Houston, we have a problem." Right? Those were astronauts. Something went wrong in this. It ended up. They ended up crashing and exploding, and they all died. Right? That's Apollo 13. Right? It's a movie about it as well. Right? And this was in April of 1970. So this was 50 years ago. Right? So I know y'all wanted to learn history and teach us about history, teach us about science. Right? Well, Apollo 13 is history and it's science. All right. So good. So as I teach you today, I'll think about something else you need to look up. I'll tell you tomorrow, okay? Or I'll tell you at the end of this lesson, I'll give you something to look up and you tell me about it tomorrow. All right? Let's get started. Today's lesson is perimeter area and volume, 5.38. Perimeter area and volume. All right? Now, before you go to middle school, I want to make sure you know the difference between the three: perimeter, area, and volume. All right. Now, let me give you a hint. All right. Well, let me just tell you. Perimeter is the distance around the outside. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. All right. So to find the perimeter, you got to add up all the sides that are outside the shape. Right? That's perimeter. Now, area is the space inside a 2D shape. Area is the space inside a 2D shape, two dimensions, two sides, right? Because area only has length and width. Volume is the space inside a 3D shape. All right? So just to give you a quick review, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. Area is the space inside a two-dimension shape. And volume is the space inside a 3D shape, three dimensions. Right? So the difference between area and volume is area is 2D, volume is 3D. Area has two sides, volume has three sides. All right? Now, you have to know the difference between them because that'll make sense. Hola, Andrea. You have to know the difference between each one so you'll know what type of problem you're dealing with. Right? If the problem asks is about border or trimming around the outside edge or fence or something like that, it's talking about perimeter. If it's talking about length and width, but it does not mention nothing about no height or no layers, then it's area. If it's just talking about length or width or square units, then it's area. If it talks about length, width, and height or layers, which is the same thing as height, then it's 3D because it has length, width, and height. All right. So that's the difference between the three. So when we look at page, we're on page 89 today. When we look at page 89, we want to determine which is which. All right, which question is which one of these? Because if you don't know, you're going to get hit with a sniper. Right? If it's a perimeter problem, it probably has an area sniper in it. Right? If it's an area problem, it probably got a perimeter sniper in it. So you have to know which one the problem is, or you're going to do the wrong thing. All right. So if we're looking at formulas to find the perimeter, add all the sides. To find the perimeter, you just add all the sides, bro. Length plus width plus width. 2 L's and 2 W's if it's a fourth dimension, right? If it's four-sided, I'm sorry. You just add all the sides, right? If it's reverse perimeter, meaning they give you the perimeter and you got to work backwards, then you add the sides you know and subtract from the perimeter, and it'll tell you the missing side, right? That's perimeter. Now, area is length times width, all right? 1 L times 1 W, right? Length times width. So if you notice, perimeter is an adding problem, and area is a multiplying problem. There is no adding in area. All right. Volume is length times width. So volume is the area, and then you got to multiply that times the height as well. Volume is 3D. So it'll have a length and a width, just like the area does, but it also has height. All right. It's okay. All right. Now, you have to know the difference between them so you won't pick the wrong operation. Because if you think it's a perimeter problem when it's really area, you're going to be adding when you should be multiplying. All right. So you got to know the difference between them. All right. So again, we're on page 89, and we're going to do these problems. All right. Number 1 on page 89 says, Mr. Riggs is building a deck in his backyard. The deck will be 16 feet long and 8 feet wide. How can Mr. Riggs determine the perimeter of the deck? All right. Well, if he has a shape that looks like this, and this is 16, and then he has 8 feet right here, then chances are he has a rectangle. All right. So which means you can go ahead and close out the rest of them. All right. So it says, how can Mr. Riggs determine the perimeter of the deck? Well, to find the perimeter, you add all the sides. Right? So if you look at 8 plus 16, that's not all the sides. That's only this and this. What about this one? And what about this one, bro? So you have to have 16 and 16 here, and you have to have 8 and 8 here. Now, to add all the sides up, it would be 16 plus 16 plus 8 plus 8. Or basically, you would have 2 of the 16s and 2 of the 8s. Right? Now, if you ever get lost in the sauce and say, Mr. T, I don't know which formula to pick, what you need to do is find the perimeter for yourself and then solve all the formulas to see which one gonna give you the same answer. All right? So 16 plus 16 is 32. All right? And 8 plus 8 is 16 more. So 32 plus 16 more, that means that perimeter equals 48. All right? Just trust me, I added it up in my head. All right? Now, if you look at A, 16 plus 8 does not equal 48. All right? 16 plus 8 is 24. It's only half of 48. Because that means you only did this one and this one. Because you left off the other half of the rectangle, that's why you only got half of the answer. So it's not 8. If you look at B, 16 times 8, well, that'll be 16 times 8. That'll be length times width. So B is the area sniper, right? Because you found the area. You did the length times the width. So B is the area sniper. Well, if you look at C, 16 times 2, where did you get 2 from? 16 times 2, 16 times 2, well, that only covers this and this. You still left off the 8 and the other 8. So you know C is not right. But if you look at D, 16 plus 8 is in parentheses, times 2 is outside the parentheses, right? So you say, 16 plus 8. Well, that's just like 16 plus 8. So that's just like going from here to here, right? Well, you got to do that times 2 because you got to go 16 plus 8. So in order to cover the whole shape, you do 16 plus 8 and then 16 plus 8, or 16 plus 8 times 2. You do it 2 times, right? Which means the answer is D. All right? Any questions about numero uno? What's up, Mr. Newbie? All right. Juana's good. Natalie's good. Ivan's good. Yourself's good. All right. Miguelito's good. Michaela's good. Okay. All right, cool. That was number 1. All right. So I'm going to leave these up here because you still need to remember what they are, right? So number 2. Number 2 says, Mr. Ali bought a box of 48 tea bags. The box was 14 times 11 centimeters on top, and it was 7 centimeters high. Mr. Ali wanted to know the volume of the box. How did Mr. Ali determine the volume of the box? Well, if you look at volume, volume is the space inside a 3D shape. So if you look at Mr. Ali's shape, he had a rectangular prism, right? Because he had this times this. That was a rectangle. All right. So he had a rectangular prism. And he says the top of the box. The box was 14 by 11 centimeters on top. So if this was 14, then this was 11. All right. So it was 14 times 11 on the top part. And then it says it was 7 centimeters high. So from the bottom of it all the way up is 7 centimeters. All right, which means this is the length, this is, and this is the height. All right. So that means if I'm looking for the volume, then that means the volume is, well, the length is 14. Again, all you have to do is write the formula, and all you got to do is plug in the numbers. Well, volume is equal to the length is 14, the width is 11, and the height is 7. 14 times 11 times 7, which is C. All right. Now, this is Google Gaga algebra, right? Wah, baby algebra, okay? And I want to remind you, because in middle school, you're going to see more algebra. Algebra is just taking out a letter and replacing it with a number and solving the problem, okay? That's early stages of algebra, okay? Any questions about number 2? All you have to do is know the formula and you can get number 2 right. So give me a thumbs up if you good on number 2. All right, Yostella's good, Andrea's good, Natalie's good, Ivan's good, Michael's good, Juana's good, Miguelito's good. Okay. What about you, Michaela? You good? All right, number 3. Number 3 says Tom is building a garden that's 11 meters long and 7 meters wide. He wants to put a fence around the garden. How many meters of fencing does Tom need? All right. Well, I tell you in my class all the time, if they don't have the shape that you need, draw the shape on the picture. Right. So number 3, they don't have a shape. But if I know something is 11 meters long, if I know something is 11 meters long and 7 meters wide, then I know I had a rectangle. Because if it was a square, they'd all be the same length. It'd be 11, 11, 11, 11, or 7, 7, 7, 7. But since this is 11 meters long and 7 meters wide, I know it's a rectangle. All right. Now, if he wants to put a fence around the garden, right, then based on what I told you, is it perimeter, is it area, or is it volume if he wants to put a fence around the garden? I want you to type it in. Is it perimeter, area, or volume? All right, type that in right now. All right, I want you to type, if this person wants to put a fence around the garden, I want you to type in what type of problem is this? Is this perimeter, area, or volume? Right? Am I worried about the distance outside, the space in the inside, or the space in the inside of 3D shape? All right, Andrea says perimeter. Natalie says perimeter. Ivan put a P. I guess that P means perimeter, right, Ivan? All right. Yesel put a P, right? All right, good. It's exactly right. You're concerned about the distance around the outside, right? Because a fence gonna go on the outside of the shape. You ain't gonna put a fence inside the shape, right? Because she said he wants to put a fence around the garden, right? So you're dealing with the perimeter, which means to find the perimeter, you must add all the sides. Add all the sides, not just these two. Well, if you look at A is the sniper because 7 plus 11 is 18. Well, you haven't added all the sides. You only added one width and one length. What about this other 11? And what about this other 7? Right? So if you pick A, it's because you only added those two together. Right? Actually, the answer is B. Right? Now, I'm going to go through your snipers for you, okay? I'm going to go through your snipers. A, B, C, and D, right? A has 18, B has 36, C has 77, and D has 154. All right? So let me break down your answer choices to you because they tried to trick you. I already told you, if you only do 7 plus 11, you got 18. But it ain't the perimeter because you didn't add all the sides. You only added this one and this one. So that's A, right? You only did one length and one width. Well, B is the correct answer because 11 plus 11 is 22, and 7 plus 7 is 14, and 22 plus 14 is 36. So B is the correct answer. All right. Well, C, 77, well, that's 7 times 11, which means C is the area sniper. Length times width. 7 times 11 is 77. So this is the area sniper. All right. And D is if you do 7 times 11, but since you see it twice, you do 7 times 11 is 77, then 77 times 2 is 154. So this is area times 2. All right? So they did 7 times 11, got 77, and then since you see it twice on that side, okay, 77 times 2 is 154. Right? But that's wrong. Perimeter, you're supposed to be adding all the sides, not most part. Right? Thumbs up if you're good for number 3. All right. Ivan is good. Natalie's good. Yacel's good. Miguelito's good. Juana's good. Andrea's good. Michael's good. All right, cool. Make sure y'all hit the like button, right? Your teacher over here working hard. All right. All right. This last one, this is an irregular shape. That means the shape is not normal. Okay. So number 4 says Devin installed carpet in the living room, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw Devin's living room. All right, this right here is 15 feet. All right, this right here is 12 feet. All right, this right here is 12 feet. You got a spot right here, a spot right here, and then you got 6 feet right here. All right. Now it says how many square feet of carpet did Devin need to cover the entire floor in his living room? If you install carpet in the living room, is carpet only gonna go around the outside of the living room? No. So you ain't talking about perimeter because carpet doesn't go around the outside of the living room. Carpet is the space in the inside. So you put carpet on the inside of the shape. You don't put carpet around the outside, okay? So it's not perimeter, it's area, right? You said, Mr. T, but that's hard. Like, how do I find the area of this shape and it's irregular, all right? Now, Mr. T is going to give you a hint. What you need to do is anytime you have a shape like this, you need to turn it from an irregular shape into two regular shapes, all right? You say, Mr. T, what are you talking about? Right now, you have an irregular shape. This ain't no square. This ain't no rectangle. This ain't nothing. But what I can do is I can turn it into two regular shapes. Because if this is 12 and this is 12, then that means I can chop it into two regular shapes. So if this is 12, this is 12, then that means this part right here will be 12, and this part from here all the way to here will be 12. All right? So that means this right here will be a square. 12, 12, 12, 12. So this will be a square. And then I have 6 right here. And then I don't know how much is on this side. All right. Well, if from here to here is 15, and you know from here to here is 12, then that means this part has to be 3. Because from one end to the other is 15 total. And from here to here is 12, which means the other part has to be 3. All right. Now you can do the same thing going on the side, which means this part right here is 3. All right. Now, if from here to here is 12 going up and down, and from here to here is 6, then that means from here to here has to be the other 6 because it's 12 total. All right. Now, some of you might not understand it that way. All right. So basically, you need to find the area, like Ivan said. Well, the area, if this is 12 times 12, this part right here is 144. Right? And then 3 times 6 is 18. So for his total carpet, you do 144 plus 18. And that's 12. That's 5 plus 1 is 6. That's 162 square feet, right? Now, some kids don't understand this way, right? But let me explain it. I'm using the size that I know to figure out the size that I don't know. If I know from at the top from here to here is 15, then if I cut off this part right here, that must be 12. Because if this is 12 down there, it got to be 12 up there. And if this is 12 and the total is 15, then the other part has to be 3. Because 12 plus 3 is 15. All right. And then on the left side, from here down here is 12. And if this side has to match that side, well, if from here to here is 6, then from here to the bottom got to be the other 6 because to match the 12. All right. So that's how I figured out the missing sides, and then the rest was just do the area, like Ivan said. Well, 12 times 12 is 144, so that's 144 right here. And then 3 times 6 is 18 right there. So the total area is 144 plus 18, which is 162. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same problem a different way. All right. It's still going to equal 162. I'm just going to do it a different way. All right. Now, I'm going to draw that same living room that Devin had. That's 15. That's 12. That's 12. This is blank. This is blank. But I know this right here is 6. All right. Now, the backup way to do it is instead of chopping this into 2 different shapes, let's make this into a normal shape. Just do it like this. All right. Now you say, okay, well, if here to here is 15, then if this is a rectangle, then it should be 15 at the bottom too. So if this is 12, then this got to be the other 3 right here. All right? Because 12 plus 3 matches that 15 at the top. Now, if this is 12 from here to here, and this part from here to here is 6, then that means this got to be the other 6. Because 6 plus 6 got to match the 12. All right? Now you say, oh, okay, well, Mr. T, how do you find the area? Well, area is length times width. So area is 15 times 12. Where you do 15 times 12, right? If that's 15 and that's 12, well, 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. All right? 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Right? Add them up. That's 180, right? Now you got to take this little part out. You got to cut that little part out, right? Because technically it wasn't like that, right? So if this is 6 and this is 3, well, 6 times 3 is 18, right? So now instead of 15 times 12, I got to cut this little patch of 18 out, right? So the whole thing is 180, but now I got to cut this little 18 patch out. So 180 minus 18. All right? Well, 8 minus 0, you can't do it. 0 minus 8, you can't do it. So this 8 becomes a 7. This becomes 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 1 is 6. 1. So it's still 162. All right? The first way, you chopped it into 2 different rectangles. The second way, you made the whole shape and then you cut this little part out. All right? Now, let me ask you, which way do you think is easier? The first way or the second way? Type in a 1 if you think the first way is easier. Type in a 2 if you think the second way is easier. Type in a 0 if you think neither one of them easy. Okay, Natalie, we're almost done. This was the last one. All right, since everybody got to go, we're going to end the lesson. All right. Well, today, that was the lesson for today. That's page 89. All right. Um, I'm going to give you something to look up, okay? All right. Now, this is your homework. Now, I told some of y'all this in class, but this is what I want you to look up. Mexican-American War. Mexican-American War. I want you to tell me what year was it over? And I want you to tell me who won and what happened. All right. Your homework. I want you to Google Mexican-American War. All right. I want you to tell me the year that it ended, who won, and what happened afterwards. All right. So for homework, Google Mexican-American War. All right. Any questions? Thumbs up if you got it, if you know what to do. Michelle is good. Michael's good. Juana's good. All right, Miguelito's good. All right, cool. All right, again, you wanted me to teach you history and stuff like that. So, and part of this is reading too. So you'll be reading, you'll be learning. That's how you get in your reading grade. All right. Yaylin's good. Okay, cool. So Google the Mexican-American War. What year did it end? Who won? And what happened after that? All right. And I will see y'all tomorrow. We only have 2 days left for summer school. Tomorrow and Thursday, okay? I will see you tomorrow at 11. All right? Peace. Love y'all. Make sure y'all wearing y'all masks, all right? Stay safe.